Okay, I want to go back and just mention something.
Are we up to the Mishnah?
No, we need to up to the Mishnah.
Okay.
I don't also want to backtrack just a tad. I wanted to mention something which I saw this afternoon, or a few minutes ago, which is interesting. There's this Gemara which says that, which talks about whether Antoninus, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi's Roman buddy, was Megayer or not. So he became Jewish or not.
Right.
So he had all the various different possibilities. So in any event, so here it says, there's I just want to start from Milei and the Rabbanan and go back and give a change in the version of the Gemara text in front of us, which is 1, 2, 3, sorry, at the top, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 lines down.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, the second word in line is Milei.
Yes.
Milei and the Rabbanan Amrei, the words of the rabbis, the following words of the rabbis, Amrei, they say it should be the light in manuscript has it, the lowest God Antoninus. And Antoninus was not Megayer. Damar Rabbi Chizkiah, Rabbi Avo, b'shem Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Chizkiah said, and Rabbi Avo said, named Rabbi Lazar, in boy name Gerei. Now here, Rabbi Avraham Eli Kaplan, one of my heroes, he says that...
Aryeh Kaplan?
Yeah, Rabbi Avraham, no, not Aryeh, no, Rabbi Avraham Eli Kaplan. So he writes that, in boynen Gerei Toshav Lasid Lavo. If Gerei Toshav come to the world to come, so Antoninus Bol Rosham, Antoninus comes at the head of them. So because it was bothering me last night, it says, and we learned this earlier in the Masechta already, this passage, it bothered me. It says, if the Gerei, so the way it's read in front of us literally, it says, if Gerei Tzedek come to the world to come, so Antoninus comes. What do you mean, if they come? Certainly Gerei Tzedek are coming. They're full Jews, it means full converts. So it makes sense what he changed the Boyhen Gerei Toshav Lo Sid Lavo. If the Gerei Toshav, the ones who only keep Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Noach, there we can ask, maybe they won't come to the world to come, or they have a different world to come. But if they do come, then Antoninus comes at their head, because he was a wonderfully righteous Ger Toshav. So that indicates he did not become a full convert, rather he only got to the level of a Ger Toshav, which interestingly means that there is a Ger Toshav B'zman Hazeh. In other words, that even though he wasn't, there's no basis to accept him because there's no yovel. Right, so nevertheless, it's as if he became a Ger Toshav because he fulfilled all the mitzvahs of...
What did he yovel for based in?
Because it has to do with living in the land of Israel, and living in the land of Israel can only be granted when we have ourselves full rights over the land, and we only have full rights over the land when yovel is. Right, so only then. That's why it's linked.
No, it's a regular base thing. It doesn't count when we do it.
Right. Okay. New issue. Ma michtov treit las milim mipsuko. Can one write 2 or 3 words from a pasuk on a piece of paper, or a piece of parchment actually, without actually writing it as a Sefer Torah? In other words, with etching lines into the paper in order to write in a straight line. So we, of course, nowadays we write, except very rarely we write in script, not in print. But the shiur is whether you can write in print, in an Aramaic square block print, without actually doing sirtut, without drawing guidelines into the paper. So Marukva Mishla Kasav L'Reish Golus. So Marukva sent a letter once to the Reish Golusa, to the head of the exile. Davadomich v'koyin b'zimrin. He used to go to sleep and get up to tunes, in other words, to music, and that's forbidden, because it says that he sent them a message. It's really forbidden Zechel Churban, to commemorate the destruction of Beis Hamikdash, but he sent them a pasuk to allude to this. The pasuk said, Yisrael.
Can I get in, by the way?
Huh?
Can they get in? Is the door open, or?
Yeah, I hear them coming. Yisrael tismach ba'amim el gil. So the pasuk actually says Yisrael al tismach el gil ba'amim, but he changed around the pasuk in order that there shouldn't be 3 words together from the pasuk, because there are 3 words together from the pasuk. So then it's not. Then you would have to draw guidelines, and he didn't want to have to draw guidelines in it. So he distorted the pasuk in order not to have 3 words together. Nevertheless, Reb Acha Kasav Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, he wrote Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, which is 3 words from a pasuk, without making guidelines etching into the parchment. Reb Zir Kasav Lo Zocha Yoash HaMelech, the king Yoash, now remember, which is 4 words. So he did that without etching lines into the parchment. So we see even up to 4 words there are those who permit it. Rabbi Yirmiyah Mishlach Ksav Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. Rabbi Yirmiyah sent a message to Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. Lisnoes avecho la'ava sonecha. Actually, the pasuk is the other way around. It's la'ava so'avecho v'lisnoes sonecha. But he switched around the words in order not to get 3 words together from the pasuk, in order that he would have to actually do. It says lisnoes la'ava sonecha v'lisnoes avecha. So he's changed around the order of the pasuk, so it'll only be 3 words together, not all 6, right? Because had he written order, all 6 have been in order, and then he would have had to do sirtut. But this way, since he changed the phraseology of the pasuk, he didn't have to actually etch the guidelines into the parchment. Right?
What are we talking about here? What is he writing?
He was writing the letters. The import of the letters are material for us.
Yeah.
What's important for us is that he will not write more than 3 words together from the Torah or from Tanakh, because otherwise it has to have certain degree of kedusha, and therefore you have to draw it straight. Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yami, Danun LeTamar. They had a court case of a certain girl named Tamar who was, I don't know, she was a prostitute or she was just licentious or immoral, so they judged her. Azla, so Tamar got upset. She went for Karvala and she snitched on them, Lanti Puta the Kesarin, to the government in Caesarea. Shochem b'kasim Rabbi Avo. So the judges who judged Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Yami sent a message to Rabbi Avo, who was close to the government, that he should appease the government on their behalf. Shach Rabbi Avo v'kasim l'hon. Rabbi Avo sent back a message and wrote them the following: Kfar piyasnu, we already made peace. L'shlosha liturin, to the 3 attorneys. L'tov yeled, to the good boy, Tov Lamad, the good learner, V'Tarshish. And Tarshish is a type of precious stone. And these were the Hebrew translations of their Greek or Roman names, Avdukim, Avsemin, and Taltachim. So he wrote in code, he wrote in Hebrew their names. Avol, however, Tamar, Tamrurim, V'Tamrurea Hiomedes. Tamar, the Tamar, the bitter one, she's still bitter, meaning we tried to get her to do tshuva and it was not successful. We wanted to sweeten her from her bitterness. And for naught was our attempts to refine her. So there's a pasuk, Lashov Tzarov Tzaraf, and has 3 words. So here we see that he was willing to write 3 words from a pasuk without doing sirtut, without writing it properly like a Sefer Torah. Raimona Mishlach Sav Rabbi Yeshua Berebi. Raimona sent a letter to Rabbi Yeshua Berebi, in which it said, Rabbi Yeshua Rabbi Shemi, the son of Rabbi Shemi, Reishisach Mitzar. It should be the word Hoya. Your beginning was very small, but you eventually grow very large. And here the pasuk is Vayoresh Yisach Mitzar V'Chisach Tazgei Ma'od. So he actually switched around the words here in order not to get 3 words together. So this we actually hold that 3 words from a pasuk have a kedusha, and that's why on invitations very often people will not write 3 words from a pasuk, because then there's a shaila of having to put into a shemus. They spell it wrong, right? Amar, getting back to a Mishnah. The truth is, I really should read the next Mishnah for me, because it's more relevant to the next Mishnah. So let me come back to this after read the next Mishnah. Basically, one may not sell a shul el al tanai except on a condition. Whenever they want, they can get it back. It's Rameir's opinion. In fact, there's a shul in Baltimore, the Lloyd Street Synagogue, which was sold many years ago on condition that if it ever there was ever havamina to sell it to a church, then the sale would revert back to the original owners, and that was in fact the case. But they hold every shul has to be sold like that. Whenever you sell a shul, has to be sold on condition that we can take it back at any time. Okay, we don't pass in that way. Chacham say mochinoso mimkar olam. You can sell it for eternity, chutz mi'arbatorim, with the exception of for 4 things. You cannot sell it for a merchat, for a bathhouse, lebursaki, a tannery, letvila for a mikveh, lebeis hamayim, and for a bathroom. To urinate. So, and of course not for a church, even though it doesn't say that. Rabbi Omer, you can sell it for a courtyard, whatever you want you can do with it. Rabbi said, when you have a shul which was destroyed, one cannot run his spadim inside it, which is not considered to be derech eretz, it's only big time mechacham. One can't use it to make ropes, which was a use they had for large open areas. Yeah, they used to make ropes. Very important, you cannot put traps there for animals. A person is not allowed to lay on its roof fruit in order to dry. Can't make it a shortcut. In other words, it's kedusha. It says, I will make desolate your sanctuaries. Avkshein Shovamin, the kedushas and Avkshein Shovamin, they are sacred even when they are desolate. Oluba Sovim, if moss started growing out of the walls like the kaisel, you should not pluck it out because it causes anguish and maybe will be an instigation to get them to rebuild it. Now going back to the end of the previous Gemara, 4 lines for the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan said, lace cane, it's not true. Now, what's not true? What's not true is or should be lace kan beis hakneses. It said in the previous mission, if we look back at Chav Daled Amud Aleph a minute, it said, Ein mokrim shel rabin liyachid. It said you cannot sell the shul which belongs to a masses to an individual, because it's going down to kosher. So he said it can't be. Because let's look at the next mission one we just learned. In Krai Meir, if it's like Krai Meir, Ein mokrim basically to sell tonight. Even to sell to another masses you can't do because you have to sell it on condition. You can never make a complete sale. And if it's like the rabbis, you can sell it for all eternity. There's something else except for these 4 things. So you certainly can sell from a masses to an individual because that's not going down kedusha anywhere near any other possible uses for the shul. So said he said really the previous Mishnah said that which belongs to the masses you cannot give to an individual. That's about a Sefer Torah. A Sefer Torah cannot be downgraded because if you sell to an individual, it's not going to be laned from, because laning needs 10 people. So therefore, a shul you can downgrade because you can sell it off altogether. But Sefer Torah may not downgrade if it belongs to the community or the public. You cannot sell it to an individual when it won't be laned.
The question is this the final resolution of the prior Amud then, with regard to we had this discussion last night about community shul.
No, still community shul can't be sold without the consent of the community, but it can be, once it's sold, it can be sold for anything. What we said last night still holds true. So you need to have the communal consent, and if it's a base consent sharabim, it's very hard to get. But once you sell it, you can sell it for any purpose, even to an individual. Certainly to an individual, even for any other purpose.
You mentioned that this list of 4 does not include Avodah Zarah. This is not an exclusive.
They didn't entertain the thought. That's the shot. I'm serious. Yeah, they didn't think that anybody would ever sell a shul for Avodah Zarah.
Right.
Okay, only in America. Says no further.
In Europe, it was.
No, I don't think that.
Neighbors didn't change. They were forced to stay in the ghetto.
First of all, neighbors didn't change. Secondly, I doubt the churches would have wanted to have.
They would have thought it's
take a shul. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, they are different architecture. Okay, I don't know. Harder that the Omer Beis HaKnesses Shel Yochid. Now, that which you can sell, which Meir says you can sell out tonight, that's only by an individual shul. If it's a shul which belongs to the masses, I feel a bit tonight, usher. Even if it's tonight, even if it's you made it tonight, it's forbidden. Why? Because it belongs to the masses. Now that's this is going in Rabbi Meir, obviously, versus Rabbi Meir. That which he says tonight is only if it's a shul of the yachid. So
is this a misprint of this word here?
Yeah, it says banui, but it should be tonight. Amar Barba. Rabbi Yechir Barba said, Rabbi Yochanan, Mekel in a Shai, Rabbi Yochanan was Mekel for women, the Shachim Bigdan al Avir the Beit Midrash, so that they could lay their clothes on the airspace on top of a base medrash. In other words, lay clothes to dry. So it's an interesting thing. The Mefarshim here, that they go a little bit crazy about this. They say, what is it like? The airspace, and what airspace are we talking about? Because in the Beis HaMikdash, the second floors, Gagin Aliyos Lo Niskachu, the rooftops and the second floors weren't kadosh, except in the Heichal, where there the second floor was kadosh over the Heichal, but not the roof. So what is Rabbi Yochanan talking about? The rooftops? It's Pashut's mutter. The rooftops, even the Beis HaMikdash were mutter, right? It's talking about the second floors. So if it's the second floors, it should depend what the parallel of the Beis HaMikdash of a Beis Knesset is. Is parallel Beis Knesset to the Heichal, parallel Beis HaKnesset to the rest of the Beis HaMikdash, where second floors were different, right? And so the bottom line is that I think it's very Balbatish, and even the Gilin Shah seems to recognize that. I mean, such a degrading thing you don't do anywhere, right? It's a Ganai. So what? So why are you allowed to do? Because base medrash, as we shall see, base medrash has special kulas to it. Okay? Shmuel Amar Nichnas Shalos.
It's a Ganai for any kind of base medrash, even on the roof.
Yeah, but in Rabbi Yochanan was matir anyway.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay?
I just want you to know, Halacha L'Mais, when I was in Eretz Yisrael,
Yeah.
this is where the guys in the Mir Yeshiva must have relied upon this Gemara when they took their mattresses and spread it out over the roof to kill the bed bugs before they used it.
Oh, yeah? That's
What's the
interesting.
difference between a mattress and ladies' clothes?
I don't know. It sounds pretty bad to
I
me.
don't think it's anything.
Derogatory. A negative use. So it says Gemara, Shmuel Amar Nichnas Shalosos Kapendaria. If you go into a shul not to make it a shortcut, Muta Sos Kapendaria, you can change your mind and make it a shortcut. I would say you come to shul to get a sefer, and then you realize you're going to go the other. If you go, you couldn't find a sefer, you couldn't find it, doesn't matter. But if you go out the other door, it'll be shorter for you. So you're allowed to do that. Tani but taking that serious about the midrash, so base knesset, base medrash, ain't knocking by him kaus rosh, one may not conduct oneself frivolously therein, lo ochim, one may not eat, velo shosim, nor drink by him, velo matalim by him, nor will go for walks in them. In other words, to entertain oneself. Lo yishein by him, nor sleep in them. Lo yichlas by him, one may not enter them. Lo b'chama, not in the summer. Lo chama. Not in the heat, be moscham in the summer, days of the summer, not in the rain, moscham in the winter. I will shonin, but you can learn mishnais, v'dorshim, and expound the Torah bohen. Now, Rabbi Yerushalmi Levi Amar, but take nesios u'bate midrashos, the shuls and bate medrash, l'chachomim l'talmidim, for the stages and their students. It doesn't finish the sentence, but what it means is that for the stages and the students, they are their homes. And that's why there's certain kulos for Talmidei Chachamim, and even at Beis Knesset, we're really more machmer by Beis Knesset, and Mekel by Beis Medrash, but he says even at Beis Knesset here. I think the Bavli only says Beis Medrash. But the idea is, Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yassim Mekablin Bego Knishta. They would accept guests within a shul. In other words, they made it like their living room. This is where their parlor. Rabbi Yami used to tell the teachers used to teach classes in shul. When an individual comes to you, melachlich baraisa, and he's a little bit dirty with Torah, meaning that he's not even a big Talmid Chacham, but is a little bit involved, immersed in Torah, a little bit colored by Torah. Again, in Asa Barnash Gabichom melachlich baraisa. It says the Gabchon again, so I don't know, that's superfluous. But anyway, to have a Kablin lay, greet him, Ula Chamrei, and his donkey, Ula Manoi, and his clothing. Meaning, give them a place in the shul to stay overnight. So it's an interesting thing that the Ran says that there are two things which combine here. First of all, it's a great guest. He's passing through. Secondly, he's Lula Talmid Chacham. So then we also allocate to him the capacity to use the shul as kind of like his home base. Okay?
That's a curious phrase, isn't it? Malachlech.
Yeah, they changed it actually to malachlech with chesed, which means moist or wet. Maluchlach is dirty. Yeah, but in Aramaic you never can tell. These words have somewhat different and perhaps less pejorative meanings. Rabbi Brechia also knishtel the Beit Shaon. Rabbi Brechia went to the shul in Beit Shaon. I assume it's Beit Shan. Chami Chad Barnashi saw a certain individual. Masig Yodei V'Ragli was washing his hands and feet. Obviously not for the davening. Mean Gorna from the collection of water from the cistern outside the shul. Amalei, so he said to this person, also look, you're not allowed to. L'mocher the next day. The same person was doing yesterday saw this rabbi, he saw Rabbi Brechia, Mashsig Yodei V'Raglim Gorna, that he himself was washing his hands and feet from the water collection. Amar Lei, so he said to him, Rabbi, Loch Shari V'li Osra, to you it's permitted, and to me it's forbidden. Amar Lei, he said yes. Amar Lei Lama, so the guy asked him why. Amar Lei, so Rabbi Brechia answered, Ken Rabbi Shimon Levi, Rabbi Shimon Levi said, because I'm a Talmid Chacham, so therefore I get to use for my own personal use stuff in the base class, the base management, including the water supply. It's an interesting thing. In other words, whatever comes to the shul, for most people it's only for Tvarim Shem Kedusha, but for Talmid Chacham, you can use it for making coffee and stuff like that.
Members only.
Okay? Says more Parva. Parva is the outer room, like an anteroom in front of a shul. Ma'am Yabra Gava can use it as a shortcut. Right? You want to walk through the antechamber in order to make a shortcut somewhere. So Rabbi Avo Avar Parva. Rabbi Avo used to do it. He used to go through the Parva. Says more Ma'ad Shari. What is it permissible? Rabbi Zcharia Chasnei the Rabbi Levi. No. There was a special case. Safra Hava Imton. The teacher of the children, they had a classroom in the shul. So the teacher was waiting. He wouldn't have come through. He wouldn't have let the kids out of school that day, which may be a good thing. But he wouldn't let the kids out, so therefore he had to run through. We had to rush through in order to allow the kids to go home. So that's what he went through. But normally, even an antechamber in front of a shul, you should not use to make a shortcut. That's what it says here, okay? Now, these others don't apply necessarily the same stringency in Chutz La'aretz. Because you say in the Bavli, all Batei Knesios in Bavel are made al Tanai. You know, they don't have the same Kedusha as shuls in Eretz Yisrael. But,
Lamaisa, to go in vain to the mikveh, you could cut through the back of the base medrash.
Right, so certainly for Talmid Chacham, it's mutter to go through the base medrash. But a regular person, it's not so simple, but I would say that they probably learn the fact that it's the Yesrus Nashim. Says it's Nashim is less Kedusha than the actual struggle, than the actual rest of it. That's what I assume they're lying. People who cut through were lying, but really shouldn't cut through.
Do we know whether during the time of the base medrash was used for tefillah at all? Davening?
It probably was not, but it's not. But here Rabbi Shimon Levi does interchange Batei Knesios with Batei Midrashos. So therefore it seems even base Knesses has this leniency for Talmid Chacham.
So what I'm wondering is that if that's the case,
yeah,
we are more knowing to be Megillah in our base medrash, which we don't do in a shul.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, in a base medrash we daven. So why is it that it has a kula? We assume a kula by base medrash. Why is it no worse than a shul?
Because it's really, the truth is, if you go back to the Mashal of the Beis HaMikdash, it's pretty exact. The Beis HaMikdash is only a place for avodas hakarbanos. So the parallel would be a place which is only for the avodah of tefillah. But it's also for learning. It doesn't have the full parameter of the Beis HaMikdash. Even though it's more than you do the Beis HaMikdash, but that's precisely the point. The Beis HaMikdash was special for avodas Hashem. When we start learning that, it's no longer avodas Hashem in the narrow definition thereof, and that's what again, it's Maila that you're learning there. It's also Chisar, and you don't have the same concept. Mora Mikdash. Mora Mikdash is a place where Hikon Likraso Kachisor, when you go to greet God, so then you have to prepare yourself. But if you're not just greeting God there, you're also learning there, so that provides the kula. I don't know if that satisfies you at all, but it happens to be.
It just seems like that. You have the base level of davening. Why is it?
Because that's what I'm saying. Davening corresponds to korbanos. That's why.
Notice they didn't mention anything about drinking coffee.
Yeah, well, the truth is, I don't know how many times I've been here before, according to those who hold the Gilgulim, but I certainly hope I was never here as a Gilgul before they discovered coffee. I don't see how I could have possibly survived. Okay.
Colombian mountains, you just don't know.
That's right. All right, Rosh Chodesh Adar, Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh Adar came out on Shabbos. Kohen Parshas Shkolim, we read Parshas Shkolim on that Shabbos. Chali es B'socha Shabbos, if it Rosh Chodesh Adar comes out within the ensuing week, Makdin L'Shavar, you go back a week, Mafsik L'Shabbos Acheres, and then you would take a week break afterwards. Now, the reason why this is so is because you've read Shkolim too early then to actually do Zohar the next week. Okay, is that at all clear? Look, guys. Rosh Chodesh Adar this year was Donnerstag. It was Thursday, right? So they read Parshas Shkolim the week before. Here was Shkolim, and here's Rosh Chodesh. So then you have a break, because this week it's called actually Hafsaka Rishona, the first break. And then you have, thereafter you have Parshas Zohar, the next. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong mode. Sorry, here we are. Rosh Chodesh Adar was Mitvach. It was Wednesday. Sorry. Rosh Chodesh Adar was Mitvach. And Shkolim was still the week before. And then there's still a break, right? Here's a break. And then there's Parshas Zohar the next week before Purim. Right? Immediately after that is Parshas Porah and Parshas Chodesh. And then afterwards you have the Hafsaka Shniya, which is between Chodesh and Shabbos Agaro. Okay? So that really doesn't count right, because that's out of the 4 parshas. During the 4 parshas, there's only one break. The break is between Shkolim and Zohar.
Where's your maths? We got the skeleton.
So it's not one of the 4 parshas. So says the Gemara. No, where am I? Oh, in the Mishnah. Shchodesh Hashchodesh b'Shabbos Kohen Parshas Shkolim. Chalias b'Socher Shabbos. If Rosh Chodesh comes out within the week, Makdim L'Shavar, you go back a week. Mafsik Shabbos Ches, and do a Hafsaka for the next week. Now, if conceivably, of course, if Shkolim came out on Shabbos, there would be no Hafsaka. How would that be? In other words, if this had been Aleph, right? If Rosh Chodesh come on Shabbos, this had been Rosh Chodesh. So then, of course, you'd have here. This would be Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Daled, Hey, Vav, Zayin. I'm going to write my way. Zayin, Ches, Tes, Yud, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Daled. Purim will come out on a Friday. So Purim comes out on Friday, as it will next year, as a matter of fact. If it comes out on a Friday, then there's no Hafsaka. Because then Parshas Zohar was the week before, and the week before that was Parshas Shkolim. There's no Hafsaka in that case. Okay? All clear now?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So Mafsir Rabbi Levi Amar, Rabbi Levi Hashem Lord said, Tzafa Kosh Baruch Hu, why do we have Parshas Shkolim? Because the Kosh Baruch Hu foresaw Shahaman HaRasha Asi Lishkol Kaspa Yisrael. Haman is going to bring his money against the Jews. Amar, so he said, Mutav Shiktam Kaspan Shal Benai, let my children's money come, but before the Kaspa Shal Sarash, before the money of that evildoer. Vir Makdim Nikorim Parshas Shkolim, that's where he beat Parshas Shkolim prior to Chodesh Adar, prior to the month of Purim.
So it's also getting ready for the Bedek bias, the money that...
Yeah, this is the Agadic reason, not the halachic reason. Chalios Be'erev Shabbos. What happens if Rosh Chodesh comes out on Erev Shabbos, right? So then, Bameh, when do we read the Megillah? Bameh Korin. Well, not the Megillah. When do we read Shkolim? Rabbi Zira Amar Kohen L'Shavar, you read it the Friday, the Shabbos before, which is the fact the way you paskin, and that's the example we have here, that we always read before. Rabbi Hillel, Rabbi B'Shem B'Yel said, no, when it comes out on a Friday, Rosh Chodesh, then you read Parshas Shkolim the next week. Kohen L'Haba. So it's more of Ava, Rabbi Zira Mistakabah. Rabbi Zira looked at him very strange. And he said, where do you come up with that? He said, Mat Mistakabah. Why you look at me like that? I said it because I heard from Rabbi Yochanan. V'atamar Mideo. You're saying on your own. If I'm Mistakabah and you're looking at me, you're making up svaras. I have a Messiah. Who should be looking at who? Okay? Masisim Messiah Day, Masisim Messiah Day. There's a price like each one of them. Masisim Messiah Rabbi Zira. This is a bright side Rebbe here, which says, Ezu Shabbos Rishona, what's the first Shabbos of the Arba Pashas, Kol Shechal Rosh Chodesh Adar Lios B'Socha, anytime Rosh Chodesh Adar comes out within the odd forthcoming week, I feel Erev Shabbos, even if it's on Erev Shabbos. In other words, as far away from the Shabbos as possible. Now, skipping the next 5 words, we'll put them in later. Ezli Shabbos Hashniya. What's the second Shabbos? In other words, Shabbos Zohar. Kol Shechal Purim Lios B'Socha. Again, anytime Purim comes out within a week, I feel Erev Shabbos, even Purim comes to Erev Shabbos, we read the previous week Shabbos Zohar. Now, going back to the words we skipped before, there's a brayso, though we don't quote the brayso here, which Shmuel quoted, which is a proof for Rabbi Hila, that if Rosh Chodesh comes on Friday, we read Parshas Shkolim the following week. Says more, Rav Nachman bar Yaakov asked, boy, Hagatzbucha, Shechal Tesvav Lios B'Shabbos. What about the case where, let's analyze this case. Tesvav, the case I actually drew for you, where Rosh Chodesh comes out on Shabbos, right? In that case, the 15th day of Adar will come out on Shabbos as well, right? The 15th day of Adar is up here, and the 15th day will be Shabbos, right? And Purim will be on Friday, right? So in that case, Shechali is Tesser Shabbos. The 15th day comes out on Shabbos. Likros Megillah. What? Likros Megillah says to Einat Yochel. You can't read Megillah on Shabbos. Now it's interesting, here we have a different reason than we had earlier. Earlier in the Masechta we had the reason that you might come to carry the Megillah. I don't know if we actually had that reason. I take that back. It's in the Bavli. The Bavli, I think, brings on the reason that you might carry the Megillah. I'm confused. But certainly the reason we've seen is that you don't read the Megillah on Shabbos because you might carry the Megillah on Shus Harabim. But here the Yerushalmi gives a different reason. The reason I can't read the Megillah on Shabbos is Shein Korim B'Kisei Shabbos Koisei Kodesh Elam Min HaMincha L'Malon. Now let's read Ksuvim on Shabbos. If you recall from Sech to Shabbos, now let's read Ksuvim on Shabbos because they are attention grabbing. If people listen to Ksuvim, they're not going to go hear the Rav's drasha, which is boring. So therefore, as in its head, because the Rav's drasha, we can't read Ksuvim on Shabbos. So therefore, we can't read Megillah Esther because that's from Ksuvim on Shabbos, right? So it says, so therefore, it's not possible, he says, it's not possible to actually have a case if that of reading Megillah Esther on Shabbos. Okay, but let me ask you like this, he says, Vikru Zohar. In other words, in this case, if Rosh Chodesh comes out on Shabbos, right? Rosh Chodesh comes out on Shabbos, so then let's read then Shkolim. Let's read the following week, which is going to be Ches Adar. Well, we're going to read then Parshas Zachar, and let's read the following week, which is Tesvav. Let's no. He's saying let's still do Hafsaka. Let's do Zachar on Shabbos. His question is, let's say Rosh Chodesh Shabbos you read Shkolim, skip a week like every other year where we skip a week, and then do Zachar on Tesvav, right?
Day after Purim?
Well, at least for the walled cities, let's do Zachar then. So says the Gemara, you can't do that. Einat Yochel. Amalei, he said, Kain Amar Rav said, these days, these Korim and Nasim, they're commemorated and done. Now, commemoration means the reading of the parsha of Zab Mechias Amalek. Asiya means the physical annihilation of Amalek, which took place in Megillah. Shetei Azkarasan Korim Lasiyos, and you must mention them before you perform them. So therefore, Parshas Zachar has to precede Purim, and here you have Parshas Zachar following Purim, meaning following the Megillah, because the Megillah is read on Yud Dalet. So you'd have Zachar following the Megillah. That's not condoned. Rabbi Yabba boy, he asked like this: imagine this. What happens if the 14th day of Adar comes in a Shabbos? So in that case, in that case, you must say that that it's if your Dal comes on Shabbos, so then you should be able to read then Zachar on that Shabbos, right? Because then the Azkara is coming out on Yudalit, and the Asiyah is coming out on Tesvav, which is a Sunday. So he said, first of all, if Lokvari Tavs this Leisef, then we already ask you, it's not possible. In other words, we cannot conceive, it doesn't happen. Yudalit never comes out on Shabbos. So the question is only theoretical. But even where I still couldn't read Zohar on Yudalit in the regular cities, because then because then the cities would still be reading the Megillah the night before, prior to having read Parshas Zohar, and again we need these Karim and Nasim first to have Parshas Zohar commemorated, so the Schir, and only afterwards the Asiyah, the reading of the Megillah. Okay? B'Shniya, Halacha, on the second Shabbos we read Zohar. B'Shlish, the third Shabbos, Par Aduma. B'Ravius, in the fourth Shabbos, HaChodesh Zelchem Parshas HaChodesh. B'Chamishis, on the fifth Shabbos, Chodesh and Kshir go back to the normal way of laning. L'kol mafsikin, generally speaking, for everything you're mafsik laning. Rosh Chodesh, Mechanukah, Purim, Tanilus, Ma'amodos, Yom Kippurim, you always insert in laning, the laning of the day. Now, it's not clear to me that the Yerushalmi had a concept of maftir like we do. We'll have to see later in the Masechta. We'll come to the concept of maftir. But I don't think, it seems to me that unlike the Bavli, where we put the Inyana, the Yoima, in the maftir, they used to put the Inyana, the Yoima in Shvi. That will become somewhat evident, I believe, as we go along. That they did Inyana, the Yoima in Shvi as opposed to maftir.
Wasn't one of the reasons they had the maftir, that they were not allowed to read the Torah itself?
That's why they had that Torah, not the maftir.
Oh, maftir.
You were talking about the maftir. But the maftir is in fact usually read by a katan. So therefore it's unlikely that in fact he would have given that just to the guy who was going to do the main amora, the stuff of the day. Okay, it says Rabbi B'Shem Rabbi Chia Barashi said, "Aim of Sigim and Purim Lepar. There are no breaks between Purim and Purim. It goes straight to that." Rabbi Levi B'Shem Rabbi Chia Rabbi Chaim Archena said, "Aim of Sigim and Purim LaChodesh goes straight from Purim to Chodesh." Rabbi Levi said, "Simonei Deilam Parsha." So the way to commemorate this is Benakosa Lo. That lochas, if you want to drink between the first and second cup Pesach night, Imrot Lishtos Yishtei allowed to. Ben Shlish Revi, between the third and fourth cup Lo Yishtei not allowed to. So too between Shkolim and Zachar you can be mafsik. Between Parah and Achodesh you can't be mafsik. Rabbi Levi Shem Rabbi Chama Bar Chanina said, "Betinu shetakti Achodesh leParah." Really, Parshas Chodesh will come before Parshas Parah. Shebech ben Nisan Mukha Mishkan. The Mishkan was erected on the first day of Nisan, and only B'Sheni on the second day of Nisan, after the Kohanim were vested with their authority. Only then was Nistar for Parah. Only then the part of them was burnt. For Lama Parah Kodemis, why then does Parah come before HaChodesh? Shita Arot and Sheisol, because it's a purification of Am Yisrael. We want Am Yisrael to be tar, either physically or spiritually.
Just as a point of information, on Parshas Noso, the Bereshis Rabo, Medrash Rabo says that the Mishkan was set up on Chanukah.
Yeah, but they weren't mechanic until Nisan.
Until Nisan, but it says Hukam Mishkan, so it's set up.
They didn't get enough plaques till Nisan, so they couldn't dedicate it. Okay, it's a lot of fundraising going on. Okay, right, Rosh Chodesh Chal B'Shabbos. I'm sorry, I skipped. Yirmi Asaf or Yirmi the Sefer, I guess the Sefer will also the like Shluchah, see the Bali Kriya. They ask Yirmi, Rosh Chodesh Chal B'Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh comes on Shabbos, but Mekron, what do we read? Normally, Kohen Rosh Chodesh, I read Rosh Chodesh. Now, again, it seems in the Yerushalmi we're talking about Shvi. Shvi would be from Rosh Chodesh. You'll see in a minute that that's clearly indicated. Rabbi Chaba Kum Rabbi Yami, or Rabbi Chaba said name Rabbi Yami Sisam again. It's a Mishnah. It says the Chom Avsikin. You stop for everything. The Rosh Chodashim Chanukah Lepurim. It says explicitly that you stop for all these things, meaning you make them part of laning. And that's not refuted. It seems that is what the Mishnah says. Schor Shor Rabbi Yitzchak. Schor As Rabbi Yitzchak. Rosh Chodesh Chal Yitz B'Chanukah. When Rosh Chodesh comes to Chanukah by Mekron, what do we lane? Normally they said Kohen Shlosh Rosh Chodesh should read 3 people in Rosh Chodesh lane. V'el B'Chanukah, 1 the Chanukah laning. Rabbi Pinchas Sarisilim, Rabbi Yava, Bar Zmina, Matzuba, B'Shem Rabbi Duin, but Chayfa they brought to bear the statement of Rabbi Duin, the Min Chayfa of Chayfa. Kohen Shlosh Chanukah said the opposite. Read 3 of Chanukah, V'Echav Rosh Chodesh. Which one did we read? Rosh Chodesh Revi. Well, the Yachid tells Shelo Bar Revi Elamach Matz Rosh Chodesh that the Revi only comes because of Rosh Chodesh, because there's no Revi on any other day of the year. So we don't pass it away. We do it the other way around. Barshelmi Asaf or Shol Raimona. Barshelmi asked Raimona, What happened if you always mock me to put Rosh Chodesh as Revi? What happens? Agatz, well, imagine this. Rosh Chodesh Chanukah is B'Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh Tevis of Chanukah happens on Shabbos. So Lo Shiva Kruin Inon, there are 7 people who are called up. Isol the Memish Lo Bar of Hiel Machmas Rosh Chodesh. Do we say that we dafka give the guy who gets the because Rosh Chodesh Revi in the middle of the parsha because Revi connotes that that Revi is the Aliyah of Rosh Chodesh, so we give him dafka in the middle. So says the Gemara, Amar Lei said, "V'other shelter the Safri, that's a shiur of a cipher." But what a klutz kasha! Of course, you don't give Revi in the middle, right? But Revi at the end or Shvi at the end is what you give to the person who's doing Mein Amora. So yes, of course, I agree with you. Don't stop in the middle. Okay. The Pesach Korim b'Parshas Moados Shebetoras Korim. On Pesach we read about the Tovim in Amor. Batzeres and Shavuos, Shiva Shavuos, you read the Shiva Shavuos Tachalach Me'achel Karmesh B'Kamo. B'Rosh Hashanah B'Chodesh Shvi, you read the 7th month. B'Yom Kippurim Achrei Mos, you read about Achrei Mos. You know the Rishon Shachak first day Yotav of Sukkot Korim b'Parshas Moados Shebetoras Korim. You read the Parsha of Moados, which is in Vayikra. The other days of Yontif, Kolimos Achag, Shar Kolimos Achag, Korim B'Korbanos Achag, you read to them about the issue of the Korbanos of the day. Says Gemara, Uvateres Shiva Shavuos. It says, well, actually, the statement it says in Mishnah, Atzeres you read Shiva Shavuos. It's tiny. Those learn B'Chodesh Shlishi. You don't read about Shiva Shavuos. Read the 3rd month, meaning about Matan Torah. Shiva Shavuos would be appropriate if there was no Matan Torah component. But they said Hashem Pakat is Sarah. They read that Hashem gave pregnancy to Sarah, which is alleged to have happened on Yom Kippur on Rosh Hashanah. You put in Korin Achrei Mos, you read Achrei Mos. We know the Rishon Shachak, Korin, you read Parshas Moados Shetoras, you read Amor. Shar Korin Mos Chag, the rest of Yotev, Korin Korbanos Chag, you read about Korbanos. Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Yisrael said, Lamedcha to teach you Shein Olam Ha'omed Al Korbanos, the world is only sustained on Korbanos. Time we learned over there, Shimon Tzadik, Yom Yishari Knes, Antra Knes Agdol. He was left to Knes Agdol. Who Yomer, he said, Al Shlosh Dvarim Olam Ha'omed, this world stands on 3 pillars. Al HaTorah, Al Ha'avodah, Gemilas Chasadim. Shlosh Pasuk, they're all in the same same pasuk, the same general vicinity. It says, V'asin Dvari B'picha, I put my word in your mouth. That's Talmud Torah, that's learning. I cover you with the shadow of my hand. That's doing chesed. Lamelcha teaches anybody having the Torah doing kindness. He sits within the shadow of Hashem. Although is that which it says, my yokar chaz t'cholukim, how precious is your bounty, Hashem. People take shelter in your wings. Then the pasuk goes on. That's Torah and Gemilas Chasadim. How we know Avodah? Because it says to plant the heavens and found the land. Eile hakarbanos. These are karbanos. The pasuk still goes on. It says V'leimar Tzion to say to Zion, Amiata, you are my nation. Amrei Echina Barapot, Mechina said Barapot said Chazano Kol Mikra went through the entire Tanakh. V'lotzano Makom Shnikru Yisrael Tzion. We found no other place where the Jews are called Tzion. Elazeh. The Lamar Tzion to say to Zion, obviously the dwellers of Zion, Amiyata, you are my nation. Says the Tamtim, we learned over there, Rishon Gamliel Omer, Al Shosh Dvarim Olam Ha'omed, the world stands on 3 things. Al Adin, on judgment, Al Emes, on truth, Al Shalom, on peace. Ushlosh and Davrachon, they're really all the same thing. Nase Adin, when there's judgment, Nase Emes, and the truth comes out. Nase Emes, and the truth comes out, Nase Shalom, there's peace. Ramon said, here too it comes from Tanakh. Ushlosh and Pasuk Echad, they're all 3 in 1. Pasuk, it says, Emes, Umishpat Shalom, Shivtu V'Sharechem, have Emes, true judgment, and judge cities. And then you'll have everything will be hunky-dory. Okay, B'Chanukah, and that's Emes Din Yisrael. B'Chanukah, on Chanukah you read in the Sim. B'Purim, V'Yavo Amalek. B'Rosh Chodashim, V'Rosh Chodshechem. B'Ma'amodos, when people used to gather in their cities to pray for the Karbanos. Ma'aseh Bereishis, the beginning of Sefer Bereishis. But Taniyos Brachos, of course, we don't do this nowadays, but Taneisim, they used to lay the Tochacha. Okay, we said this last very previously. And because one cannot give out two aliyahs during the klolos. El echad koros kum, one reads the entire sequence of klolos, one bal kori. B'shein v'chamishi v'shabbos v'midor. We also read by the Monday, Thursday, and Shabbos b'mincha. Actually, Kohen consider reading in normal fashion. Vein olam in a cheshbon doesn't count towards your cheshbon of fulfilling the mitzvah of hearing lady that week. Shemot says, "Vaydevrem Hashem modeh Hashem b'nei Yisrael." Mitzvot shu kohen kolech bechad of his man of the mitzvah is to read each one in its proper time and place. Okay. Says the Gemara further. Aim asim b'klos. One cannot stop in the middle of the close. In other words, if one is going through the close, one has to finish it and not make an aliyah in the middle. Well, Amrei B'chir Bar Gemuda. Al tikot b'tochachto. Do not, which means al taseh kotzim kotzim. If somebody gives you musar, do not listen only partially. Listen to the whole kit and caboodle. Always listen to musar. Should I give them musar tonight? You guys were late. Always listen to musar. The earlier you come, remember the principles in counting: first in, first out. Okay, says Gemara further. So in any event, you always have to listen to Musar. You shouldn't make the Musar kotzim. So it means if you divide up the tochacha, so it's if you're saying, okay, enough of this Musar. That's you understand what I'm saying? Kotzim means you break it up, so it means it's as if you don't want to hear it. Each part is too much and you can't take it anymore. Right. So if you read the whole thing once, in order to indicate you really are willing to accept Musar. Okay? Another pshat, Omer Kodesh Baruch Hu, no way, don't make up sukkah middle close. It's not proper. They're being cursed. But they're blessing me. Because if he's making aliyah in the middle of tochacha, so there's going to be brachas made to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's incongruous, right? That Hashem is cursing us and we're making brachas then. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Boon, not for that reason. The close b'torah reads why you don't sound the mills, because whoever gets up to lane, he has to begin with something good, and end with something good as well, and tochacha don't got nothing good in the middle. Levi bar Pisti. Asked Ravuna, Elina Rugayo, these klolos, Maudi Akrin Chad, can one person read them and make the bracha before and after them? So he said a very interesting thing. So interesting that the Yerushalmi doesn't necessarily have this girsa. The Ksav, the line of manuscript doesn't necessarily have this girsa. Armalei, so he said, you almost never have to make a bracha before and after you lane. El close Shabbatorah. It's kind of except for the close in Vayikra and close Shabbatorah Mishnah Torah. Why is that? The way they had in the old days, only the first person getting aliyah and last person getting aliyah made a bracha. Not the people in the middle. But he's saying that tochacha you have to make a bracha even though it's in the middle. Why is that? In order to show that you accept it. Okay? So, Rabbi Yonasan Safra de Gufta. Rabbi Yonasan, the Sefer of Gufta Nachasacha, he came to, I guess, Eretz Yisrael, to Tveria. Chama Yisrael Baravuna Safra, that Baravuna was another Sefer. Kari Shira Saber is reading Shira Saber, which is a minor song in Chukas, freestanding. He made a bracha before and after. Armalei said, "Can you do like that in your country?" Armalei, so he said, "Vadahin atlazu, you're still doubtful about this? Kol hashiros tunas bracha lifnei machem. Any shir is choshev requires a bracha before and after." Ishteil Rabbi Simon. So he asked Rabbi Simon. He went and asked Rabbi Simon. So he said, Rabbi Levi. Simon said the name Rabbi Levi. It's not true. Not all shirs require a bracha before and after. The only ones are Shir Sayam, right? Oz Shir Moshe, Vaser Sativas, and commandments, close of Torah's claim, and the close in Torah Vayikra, and the close of Mishnah Torah. So it's interesting. The light in manuscript here takes out close Shabbat Torah's claim, the close of Vayikra. And it's as if it's saying that perhaps it's a mistake. Perhaps it means, there's certain kulos by the close of Mishnah Torah. For the Torah Yerushalmi brings down two kulos. He says, for example, first of all, you're allowed to stop in the middle of reading the close for him, because they're not as terrible. Moshe Rabbeinu said them, not Hashem. So they're not as terrible. Secondly, you don't have to go quickly to read for him in the bathroom. Nobody understands exactly what you're saying. You only have to go with the klolos in Vayikra, not the klolos in Devarim. So klolos in Devarim are more lenient. So perhaps you can explain the Leiden's Girsa by saying that the klolos in Vayikra are so impossible and so difficult you can't make a brach on it. But the klolos in Devarim, they're less difficult and less impossible, so if you can make a brach on it. Perhaps that's what it means.
Tangential to that, and I don't know how to exactly squares with this. The Rav has a word on all of Sefer Devarim. The notion of Sefer Devarim is a separate Sefer, not, it's like a,
it's Torah Sheba'al Peh.
Torah Sheba'al Peh, right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that squares.
I don't know if it's either, but you work on it and get back to us, and we'll read it right into the Gemara.
You'll have to work.
Okay. Says Ami Avarava said Anilo Shamati. I didn't hear precisely what things require bracha when you lay them. But near Advarim, I think it would make sense to me as Sarah Sadibras, because it's obviously Choshev. Rabbi Yosef Rabun said, Timnai Psuka Achritza in Mishnah Torah, the last day Psuka in Mishnah Torah, Tunim Bracha V'neim V'achreim. You have to make a bracha before and after them. Says Mariah Stamp below, Kach, don't you anyway have to have it? Ain't up a Seb Chaysim B'Torah V'varach V'nei Achreim. When you're opening and closing the Torah, you have to make a bracha before Breishis and after V'zos bracha. So it's partially has to make a bracha. Once he has to make an after bracha, post bracha, he might as well make a pre bracha as well. So Sarah Lochein, we don't know. It's talking about the following case. The Chiddush is Rosh Chodesh Shechal Yos b'Shabbos. When Rosh Chodesh comes out on Shabbos, so then we say in that case that I forgot. What do we say?
That's two different Sefer Torah.
No, they didn't take that into account. Oh, right. Because then Shvi is Rosh Chodesh. So then it's not the last Psukim in Torah, not the last Psukim in the laning that day. Because you still have Shvi to do, which is the laning from Rosh Chodesh. So the Chiddush is that even where it's in the middle, the last day of Psukim in Torah, which discussed the death of Moshe, so then you still have to make a bracha after them, as if they were at the end, even though you say tack on the end something else. Okay? Says Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yossi Rabun, Yossi Rabun said, Shira Sayi Levim, the Shira Levim, now the Shira Levim is called Hazinu, or Hazinu is called Shira Levim, because Levim seems to sing a stanza every day in the Beis HaMikdash. So, Loiv Chasula Meshisha Kriyos, you can't have less than 6 layings. Of course you can have 7, but not less than 6. The Simana, remember that is the place where you stop for Aziv Loch. And the Kormei brings down obligingly Hazinu, Zchori Mosolam, Yakveh Mosai, I forget what the rest of the pasuk is. Vayishman Le Bishurun, right? And Kiyodin Hashem Amo. So those are all 6 psukim. I don't know if I punctuated correctly, but the bottom line is that these 6 guys are the people who lane Vazinu. And these 6 paragraphs, the paragraphs where Azinu is broken up, and it's an interesting thing because I was thinking that maybe this is the makor for the Brisker Shita. As you may or may not know, the Brisker is here in Chicago, and I assume also in Eretz Yisrael. When they get to Azinu, they don't do Azinu as it says in the Siddur. The Siddur, it's very short, right? The Siddur is so short, I missed it. Right. The Siddur has, on a week, they go to Elokeinu, and then from Atzur to Schor, and then from Schor to Bechor. But the truth is that the Briskers, they combine the first 2. They combine the Azinu with Hatzur, and then Sheni is Zechor. So it could be that they got it from this Gemara, because this Gemara gives the breaking points. And this is not a breaking point to over here to Hobogadol Okeno, so that's why they waited till later on. Okay? So that's why again, as I said in Brisk, when they learn Sheni till Levokenu. They combine Sheni and Shlishi, right? They learn Rishon Telkenu. They combine Sheni and Shlishi, and they're at the. Did I get that right? No, they combine Rishon and Sheni. because Atzur is not an interruption. So Gemara Rishon Sheni and then Zechor, and the pasuk after the Chumash are that which make up, or Shem Badai Dichenu, that which make up I'm still not getting it right. I'm too confused. 1 second. They lane during the week in Brisk, they lane Rishon till Sheni, and Sheni till Shlishi, and Shlishi till Revi. We lane during the week Rishon till somewhere in the middle of Sheni, and then Sheni till the end of Sheni, and then Shlishi in Sheni, right? Am I making myself clear?
Yeah.
Right. So it could be that their makor is because they divide it up differently because of what it says in Gemara. Okay. On that note of confusion, we'll stop here for tonight and pick up again, Yirtzeh Hashem, tomorrow.